We're here to talk about hacking in Watchdog, and you're watching Connected Digital World.
Hi, Andrew from Connected Digital World here. We're here in Paris with Ubisoft at the new game Watch Dogs, so stick around. Thank you for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
So I'm Thomas Geffroyd. I'm the content director for Watch Dogs. So I supervise every content in the game, out of game, products and everything, but I also specialize in authenticity. So I'm the hacking resource for the team.
So let's talk about the game a little bit. Do you want to give us a quick background on what the game is and who you play in the game?
So you're playing Aiden Pierce, who is quite a street-smart, clever hacker. And he's turning into a story because of the death of his niece, and basically you're playing Aiden, trying to find out the truth about this death. And rampaging the Chicago streets to make good and get vengeance for what happened.
So what was the choice behind picking Chicago?
Well, many different choices. The first one is historical. Chicago has a very strong background in crime, but also as a contemporary thing, Chicago has been the most connected city in the US for quite a while, and it's still going on. We have a very strong history of crime there, as I just said, and they're trying to counteract that with a lot of CCTV cameras, algorithm and everything. And Chicago is now currently the most connected city of the United States. So as we're playing a hacker and hacking is taking a lot of space in the game experience, it was a great place to be. On top of that, it's not a city that's been used a lot, so it was fresh on our side, and it's a beautiful city on top of that.
How accurate is your representation of Chicago?
We kept many landmarks, so we're not a one-on-one replica, but we kept many landmarks, so hopefully when you play, and if you know Chicago, you will find many places you already know and you're familiar.
So obviously hacking is a quite important part of the game. How important is it?
I would say it's core of the experience. Everything came, we wanted the city to be an ingredient of gameplay. We wanted the city to be a part of the story, not only as a background, but as something active. With the advent of smart cities and hyperconnectivity we're experiencing today, hacking was the ideal choice to make it happen. So it was really a conjunction of different things. The hacking culture becoming a little more mainstream, a little more accessible, and on top of that, the smart cities, which were the perfect playground for hackers to have fun. So the whole experience really revolves around that. So you can still shoot guns and be stealthy and everything, but you can use the city at your own advantage.
Can you give us some examples of the types of hacking in the game?
Basically, you have what I would call the physical hackings. Basically, raising bollards, making explosions, surges, real blackouts. You can black out half of the city, which is very exciting. You can blow pipes, and all this is basically true. It's something we could do in real life with hacking. If a city was connected as Chicago is in the game with the CTOS. So we just went a little further to make hacking even more spectacular. Every single thing you're doing in the game in terms of hacking is feasible. However, it would be a bit more complicated than just pressing the D-pad. But we made sure that everything was right and that every hack could be replicated in real life.
Okay, so how exactly did you do that?
Well, first we did a lot of research, a lot of it. The security and hacking community on the internet are very proficient in sharing information. Those are very dynamic communities. So we already had a lot of stuff to work on. However, when we started getting into the scripts and getting a little more into details, we met Kaspersky Lab, which is a huge Russian antivirus and security company. And basically they helped us on the script and make sure that there were no mistakes and correcting and inspiring some stuff on our side. Plus, we've been traveling a lot, going to DEF CON and hacking conferences, not only for the technical content but also for the cultural, just discovering a little more the hacking universe and the hacking culture.
Talking of the hacking culture, how accurate is that represented in the game? Obviously, you've said you've been to conferences.
It's the hacking culture is very wide. I mean, there are as many hackers, there are humans. I mean, there are style, there are approaches, there are black hat and a white hat, and maybe they are, depending on the time of the day. But we try to be as accurate as possible. We feel with some kind of a responsibility to showcase the right way. Media has been very bad in describing them for so long. But this is a very intelligent crowd. This is a very creative and very interesting crowd that has been portrayed very badly. So we took this as a little challenge, trying to be as accurate and as positive as possible with those guys. And I hope we've achieved it.
So obviously, Aiden uses a smartphone in the game. What else can the smartphone do?
Oh, you can do so many things. Like a real smartphone, you can find music, you can download music, you can get cars, you can get weapons, you can play VR games. We have several VR games within the game.
Yes, I played Spider Tank.
It's super meta. We're all about meta. You can use it almost as a real phone in real life, but on top of that, it's got those special apps that allows him to wreck havoc in the city.
And like a real smartphone, it has battery life.
Absolutely, it drains.
I've noticed this morning, yeah. So, were you concerned that you were creating something that was going to be a little too easy, that he just walks up, presses a button, and he hacks it?
I mean, easy was never the problem, because you can always tune the difficulty. To us, the challenge was when you play a game, except for the guns, but when you hack it, you're always remote from the action. It could happen behind you, it could happen almost everywhere around you, so you may not be focused on that and witness the effect and have this feedback of what you've been doing. So it was more those elements that condition which action would keep, that you could see an effect on, or you can really feel what you're doing. Because otherwise, yes, if we were so hardcore about hacking, I could do that from my basement in a way. I mean, I'm just pushing the button. This is a game, and we have this whole social engineering side of hacking, which is really part of what we wanted to do. Hackers are not confined to their basement, they go out. They breach security by physically getting in or physically crafting devices to get access. So this was the part that interested me, the active hacker. It was a physically active hacker. Also because we wanted to have an action game and you have to move around and do stuff and drive very fast.
So obviously you mentioned crafting there, so do you want to tell us a little bit about crafting in the game?
Basically, there are many different devices you can craft that will help you, bombs and many different elements. I'm pretty sure people will discover them and enjoy them along their way. So you can find ingredients in many different places and craft your own devices. And this is something we really wanted to tackle, because one part of the hacking culture is the maker culture, and which is becoming stronger and stronger, especially in North America. And this is something we wanted, I wouldn't say we wanted to do in making game, but at least wanted to test that and show that with very basic ingredients you can do many things. And that's really the case.
Is there a particular hack you really wanted to do in the game but couldn't?
This is a tricky question.
The smile tells me there is something there.
There are so many, but I'm going to keep that for later.
DLC.
One I wanted, I would have loved to have is we have the ability to steal money from people. I would have loved to have the ability to give money to other people. And it's a very simple one, because I'm very fond of the hacking community, and I look at them not as a bad person, but almost as the modern day Robin Hoods.
So sort of an activist.
Absolutely, and I felt that, and this is something when I play the game, and we've got the profiling, so you can have access to details about every NPC in the city. And some of them have touching stories, or at least there was more of this one lady that is divorced and couldn't make meat ends with 2 kids. Will you steal money? I would not. I walk along and try to find some person I would steal from. But I would have loved to be able to take the money from the tobacco selling guy and give it to this lady. Yeah. And maybe next time we'll make it happen. We'll see.
So there are quite a significant number of NPCs within the game. How many have you got in there at the moment?
They're all randomly generated, so they can be as many as we want. Basically, we spent years filling databases of details and names and activities, and the system is generating, on top of the appearances, is generating those sub-stories. So that's also a real blast, because sometimes you've got some very weird matches happening, and that's quite fun, because we have some jokes into this.
So there's quite a lot of replayability there.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, the main storyline will take you for quite a long ride, but completionists are people that just want to fool around and do all the side missions and all the elements, and also the multiplayer. Will replay for a long time and will find new things, hopefully, almost every time.
And have you guys put any sort of Easter eggs?
There are some, but I'm going to let people discover them.
Are there any hacking Easter eggs?
No, not actually. We felt it would be too unique. We want to keep the system going, but I know there are many things happening in the city and some surprises for the gamers.
Okay. You mentioned obviously the length of the game. How long is the game?
For a gamer, looking for 30 to 40 hours for the main storyline, and for a completionist, someone that really wants to do everything, 100 hours is not it's very, very possible.
Again, with the replayability as well, and the randomness.
And going for the systemic missions and everything around.
Are there any thoughts for DLC content?
We'll talk about that later.
And what's the current planned release date?
27th of May this year on all platforms and PC.
Thanks.
Except a little later. Just a little later.
Just a little later. You heard it there first. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Why not subscribe to us by clicking on the link on the screen now? And why not check out some of our other great Watch Dogs content?